Dear cadets, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome you all at my online class. I hope all of you are well by the grace of Almighty Allah. This is Maqsudur Rahman, lecturer in chemistry, Borishal Cadet College, Borishal. It is very necessary to keep yourself inside home along with your family members for avoiding the running pandemic COVID-19. We hope we will very soon can get rid of this pandemic condition and our life become very smooth again. Considering this prevailing situation, Borishal Cadet College is providing necessary academic guidelines and short lecture on specific link periodically. With this continuation, I am here for your online class. Yes, in this picture, what you can see, these are minerals. Yes, today our topics is mineral resources, metal, non-metal, and this is the first session for class 10. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain the concept of mineral resources. You can compare among the rocks, minerals, and ores. You can find out the appropriate ways of metal extraction. So, at the very first of this, my lecture, I am going to elemental composition of earth crust. I am going to tell about elemental composition of earth crust. In this picture, you can see this. There are abundance of oxygen in earth crust. This is 47% oxygen is present in earth crust. Silicon is second one, it is 28%, and rest are metals. For example, aluminum 8.1%, iron 5.0%, calcium 3.6%, sodium 2.8%, potassium 2.6%, magnesium 2.1%, and others 0.8%. So this is the elemental composition of earth crust. So this is very important for your MCQ type question. So I think you must note down it. Now I am going to discuss about rock. What is rock? Most rocks are compounds of some hard particles. These particles are made by mixing of different minerals. So we can say that rocks are the composition of different minerals. With the temperature, rain, fog, storm, and wind always causes corrosion of the rocks. And rocks melt at high temperature of earth. This molten rock is called magma. On cooling, magma again convert to hard rocks. These rocks are called igneous rocks. So we can say that rocks are composition of different minerals, and when it is in melted condition, it is called magma. When it is in hard condition, it is called igneous rocks. So there are different types of rocks. So I am going to discuss on different types of rocks. First one is, in this picture, what you can see, I think you can guess, this is igneous rocks. How? Igneous rocks from when molten rocks, this is molten rocks, you can see in this picture, this is molten rocks. When cooled down, sand solidified with or without crystallization. It may crystallize or solidified either below the surface or on the surface. In this picture, you can see when these molten rocks cool and solidified at the inside of the surface, this called intrusive or plutonic rocks. And when it cooled down or solidified on the surface, on the outer part of the surface, it is called extrusive or volcanic rocks. So in this picture, you can see there are different types of igneous rocks. So igneous rocks from when molten rocks cool and solidified with or without crystallization, either below the surface, that is intrusive rocks, or on the surface of the surface. On the surface, it is called exclusive rocks. Now, sedimentary rocks. In this picture, you can see the process of sedimentation. So sedimentary rocks are produced from the fragment of the older rocks you can see the fragments of the older rocks, sediment. So sedimentary rocks are produced from the fragments of the older rocks that have been deposited and consolidated. This process consists of three processes. First one is, at the first stage, rock is broken off the hills and mountains by the weather. In second stage, the rock gets into the rivers and stream. The pebbles, sand and gravel are carried to the sea. You can see in this picture. And last stage is, the pebbles, sand and gravel settle on the seabed. Settle on the gravel, pebbles, sand settle on the seabed, and stuff that settle on the seabed is called sediment. Over millions of years, the sediment builds up and get squashed together to make sedimentary rocks. And you can see in this picture the example of sedimentary rocks. Now, metamorphic rocks. What is metamorphic rocks? Metamorphic rocks are the result of the transformation of pre-existing rocks, that means sedimentary rocks and igneous rocks. When sedimentary rocks and igneous rocks are at 150 degrees Celsius temperature and or extreme pressure, it changes its physical and chemical process. When it changes its physical and chemical properties, it turns into metamorphic rocks. So metamorphic rocks are found from the sedimentary rocks or igneous rocks. The condition is, at high temperature, that means 150 degrees Celsius temperature, or at high pressure, these two sedimentary rocks or igneous rocks transform into metamorphic rocks. So in this picture you can see the transformation of metamorphism, and these are the examples of metamorphic rocks. Now, what is mineral? Though the valuable metal and non-metals are found everywhere in the world, but in rock piles of the earth crust or inside the earth, metal and non-metals are found as compound or as free element. These are called minerals. So if you say mineral as very easy way, we can say that the substance available above and underneath the soil, from which we get necessary metals and non-metals to make various products, are known as minerals. The place where these minerals are found are called mines. So the substance available above and underneath the soil, from which we get necessary metals and non-metals to make various products, are known as minerals. And what is mine? The place where these minerals are found is called mines. Minerals are two kinds, such as elemental minerals, and second one is compound minerals. Now, what is elemental minerals? Gold, diamond, sulfur, etc. are found in nature as fundamental element. That's why these are fundamental elements or elemental minerals. Now, composition minerals. All minerals except elemental minerals are compound minerals. These are found as compound. On physical consideration, minerals are of three kinds. One is solid minerals. Solid minerals found as solid, such as magnetite, bauxite, sulfur, etc. are solid minerals. You can see this is the solid minerals of magnetite. So this magnetite is found as solid. So this is the example of solid minerals. Liquid minerals, mercury, petroleum, etc. liquid minerals. In this picture you can see mercury, its ore is called cinnabar, known as cinnabar. So this is the minerals of mercury, and it we found as liquid minerals. Number 3, gaseous minerals. We know that natural gas is a mineral which is found as gaseous minerals. So natural gas is our gaseous minerals. So on physical consideration, minerals are of three kinds. One is solid minerals, liquid minerals, and gaseous minerals. And in this picture, you can see the three minerals on consideration of physical strength. Now, ore. Metals cannot be extracted economically from all minerals. The minerals from which metal can be extracted economically are called ore. Here you can notice that metals cannot be extracted economically from all minerals. The minerals from which we can extract metal economically are called ore. For example, galena. Galena is the mineral of lead and sulfur. So it is an ore of lead. Because why it is ore of lead? Because lead can be extracted economically from it, but sulfur cannot be extracted economically from it. That's why galena is ore of lead but mineral of sulfur, because from galena we can extract lead economically, but sulfur cannot be extracted economically from this galena minerals. That's why it is ore of lead but minerals of sulfur. This is not ore of sulfur because we cannot extract sulfur economically from these galena minerals. That's why it is only ore of lead, not ore of sulfur. It is mineral of sulfur. Now, extraction of metal. How we can extract metals from the ore or minerals? Extraction of metal from ore is done by 5 steps. First one is crushing of ore. Number 2, condensation of ores. Number 3, conversion of condensed ore to oxides. Number 4, conversion of metallic oxide free metals. And last one is purification of metals. And today I will discuss on crushing of ores, condensation of ores, and conversion of condensed ore to oxide. And in my next class, I will discuss this rest of 2. Now, first one is crushing of ores. So by seeing this picture, you can observe that the big rocks are crushed to small particles. These big rocks are crushed to small particles so that chemical reaction can be occurred easily later on. So we need to crushing big ores into smaller particles. So to do this, the ores are made small particles in jaw crusher. Here you can see in this picture the jaw crushers, and then crushed to powder in ball crusher. So by using crusher, we can make the big rocks into small particles for chemical reaction smoothly. Second one is condensation of ores. What is condensation? Clay, sand, stone, limestone, and some other non-metals are found with crushed ores as impurities. So by removing impurities, this process is called condensation of ores. So there are some process for removing these impurities. First one is hydraulic method, fourth flotation system, magnetic separation, and chemical process. So now first one is hydraulic method. You can see the hydraulic clapping system. This process is generally used to condense the oxide ores, the ores that are oxide of metals or non-metals. So hydraulic method is used for the oxide ores. The specific gravity of metal ores and clay, sand, stone, limestone, and some other non-metals are different. That's why the crushed ores are stirred with adding water and washed with blowing water. Then the light mineral impurities will wash out and ores will be condensed. So in this process, the light mineral impurities will wash out and ores will be condensed. So this is the hydraulic method. Now fourth flotation system. In this picture, you can see the fourth flotation system. This process is generally used to condense the sulfide ores. So for sulfide ores, we use fourth flotation system. Sulfide ores get wet easily with oil. Taking the crushed ore in big bowl added water and a small amount of appropriate oil, then stirred with boiling air. So sulfide ore, upon weighted with oil flat on water as foam, the ore is separated with foam. You can see in this picture the ore is separated with foam. The mineral impurities settle at the bottom of the bowl as residue. So we can easily separate the ore as a foam. And you can see this is the copper flotation system, and in this picture we can see that as copper, the copper ore is separated as a foam. Now magnetic separation. This process is used if either of the ores or the gangue has the magnetic property. So we have different minerals that have magnetic properties. So crushed ores are passed through a plastic conveyor belt. This is the plastic conveyor belt. The outer wheel of the conveyor belt has the magnetic property. So this belt has the magnetic property. Chromite, wolframite, rutile are the ores of magnetic property. Condensation of ores. And last one is chemical process. This technique is applied depending upon the characteristics of the ores. In this process, the desired minerals of the ores are dissolved in a particular solution, such as iron oxide, titanium oxide, sand, etc. are found in mixture with bauxite ore of aluminium. So in bauxite, that is ore of aluminium, consists of iron oxide, titanium oxide and sand. So adding sodium hydroxide solution with the bauxite and heat to 1500 to 2000 degrees Celsius temperature, bauxite will be dissolved. But iron oxide and titanium oxide sand will not be dissolved. The mineral impurities are removed by filtration. So if we use sodium hydroxide solution, aluminum oxide react with sodium hydroxide and we get sodium aluminate and water. But iron oxide and titanium oxide sand will not be dissolved. If we filtrate, is heated, adding water, aluminum hydroxide will be precipitated, and heating at high temperature, aluminum hydroxide will convert to alumina. So we get pure alumina, and iron oxide, titanium oxide and sand will be removed. So third one is conversion of condensed ore to oxide. There are two ways to conversion of condensed ore to oxide. One is calcination, another one is roastery. So what is calcination? Condensed ore are heated at temperature below the melting point in absence of air. This is the condition. It must be heated at temperature below the melting point of the substance and in absence of air. That's why organic substance or moisture will remove from the ore. In this process, hydrated metal oxide, I repeat it again. In this process, hydrated metal oxide and metal carbonates convert to metal oxide. So calcination is done for the hydrated metal oxide and metal carbonates that can easily convert into metal oxides. And there are two conditions. One is this will be heated at temperature below the melting point and it must be in absence of air. For example, when limestone, that means calcium carbonate, is heated below the melting point and in absence of air, it converts into metallic oxide. That means calcium oxide. When bauxite is heated below its melting point in absence of air, it converts into aluminum oxide. That means metal oxide. When hematite, this is the chemical composition of hematite. When it is heated below its melting point and in absence of air, it turns into ferric oxide. So this is the metal oxide. So calcination is done for the oxide of metal oxide, hydrated metal oxide and metal carbonates. This is the example of metal carbonate and these two are hydrated metal oxides. So calcination is done for the metal oxides, that is hydrated metal oxide and metal carbonates. And when it heated at temperature below the melting points and in absence of air, it converts into metallic oxides. And second one is roastery. Generally, roasting is applied for the sulfide ores. I repeat it again. Generally, roasting is applied for sulfide ores. If sulfide ores are heated at temperature below the melting point, it will be heated at below the melting point, but in presence of air. It will be in presence of air. Then organic substance or moisture will remove from the ore. Basically, mineral impurities, that means gangue such as sulfur, arsenic, phosphorus, etc. will remove as volatile oxides. In this reaction, you can see that zinc sulfide, it is zinc blende. Its name is, industrial name is zinc blende. This is the sulfide ore. You can see this is the sulfide ore. When it is heated below its melting point and in presence of air, you know that in there are lot of oxygen in air. So when it is heated at below the melting point and in presence of oxygen, that means in presence of air, it will convert into metallic oxide. Another one is galena, that means lead sulfide. This is the ore of lead. When it is heated below the melting point and in presence of air, that means in presence of oxygen, it will convert into lead oxide. So calcination is done at the temperature below the melting point and in absence of air, but roasting is done at temperature below the melting point in presence of air. This is the total difference between roasting and calcination. Here are some important difference between calcination and roasting. For example, calcination is a process in which an ore is heated in the absence of air, or air might be supplied in limited quantity. But in case of roasting involves heating of ore lower than its melting point in the presence of air. The most important is calcination is done in absence of air and roasting is done in presence of air. Second one is calcination involves thermal decomposition of carbonate ores and roasting is carried out mostly for sulfide minerals. During calcination, moisture is driven out from an ore, and roasting does not involve dehydrating an ore. It cannot dehydrating the ore. Carbon dioxide is given out during calcination, and during roasting, large amount of toxic, metallic and acidic compounds are released. So these four are the basic difference between calcination and roasting. I think all of you will be able to understand the difference between calcination and roasting. This is very important for your MCQ type question, CQ type question. And 4, conversion of metallic oxide into free metals. Depending upon the bond energy of metallic ion or anion of ores, electrolysis, carbon reduction, melting or heat reduction will be required to free metal. And inert metals exist freely, so heat reduction is not required to extract these metals, such as gold, silver, platinum. These are all inert metals. So these will found as free metals in nature. And in my next lecture, I will discuss the electrolysis, carbon reduction and heat reduction process. Here you can see the reactivity series of metal: potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum. These are highly reactive metals, and these metals are extracted by electrolysis process. Zinc, iron, lead, these are medium standard reactive metals, and these are extracted by carbon reduction process. Whereas copper, mercury, silver are less reactive metals, and these are extracted by self-reduction process. Platinum and gold, these are found in pure form. So today we learned about the concept of mineral resources. We can compare among the rocks, minerals and ores. We can also find out the appropriate ways of mineral extraction. So if you have any question, please write it in comment box. Later on I will solve it. So here I have a home task for you. First one is what is a ore? What is the difference between roasting and calcination? Write down the difference between ore and minerals. Another home task. There are some ore of metals. You have to find out the extraction method. I already discussed in my previous slide. So there are some ores, for example, cinnabar, zinc blende, calamine, galena, magnetite, hematite, limonite, copper pyrites, calcitite, bauxite, brine, limestone, etc. The ores of minerals, different metals. So you have to find out the extraction method of these metals. So thank you very much for your participation. I want to say you that you must stay at home, wash your hands regularly, you must maintain social distancing, you must avoid touching eyes, nose and mouth, and you must make your family member conscious about novel coronavirus and make your lesson properly. And I hope you make the best use of your time. Thank you very much.